Charan Pawan, blessings to everybody. Good, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you live. Today I've just had a ceremony, so I'm a bit. My voice is a little bit less strong than normally, but I'll be fine, I think. So it's good to hear that you all have come here today to study about Dhamma. And I've seen that there have been many great speakers already. I came once to talk about karma before, and then that was only once, sometime a few months ago, and I'm happy to join you again. So today's session will be about our dreams and why do we dream from a Buddhist perspective. But perhaps just to start off, maybe we have a short meditation first. And we'll have some time to clear our mind before we study the Dhamma. Just a short meditation. So I'd like to invite all of you to come and sit together in meditation. Let us breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly. And we allow ourselves to really get back into the present moment. We first start off by relaxing our entire body. From the top of our head to the tips of our toes. We relax our face, relax our jaws, relax our neck and shoulders. We relax our arms and hands. Then we go back up a little, relaxing our chest and abdomen, our back and our hips, and our legs as well. Feel how your body is becoming more and more still, more and more idle, more and more unmoving and still. We no longer have to do anything at all. We no longer have to go anywhere. This is a most wonderful moment, and it's the best place to be, and the best time to do the most important thing for our mind and heart. We also allow our mind to relax. Whatever thoughts and feelings may be going through our mind, we just give it space, but we do not follow our distractions, our frustrations or fears. We simply allow the thoughts to come and go as they would normally, as the birds in the sky that sit on this branch and that branch, and we simply allow the birds to fly along. Once we've been able to relax our body and mind, we reconnect with the center of the body within, the center space within. By following our breath inside, we can notice the end of our breath when we feel our abdomen rising and falling at the center of our body, at the core of our being. And we simply confirm the center of the body within. Whenever we are distracted, we simply go back to our center. And if we like, we can imagine a little sun or a little moon shining within. Or if it inspires us, we can imagine the Buddha sitting inside of us. With a very soft and gentle attention, we simply allow the image to appear as a sort of beacon, as a sort of landmark to know where we can go back, to not forget the center within. And we can also use a mantra, the very profound mantra used since ancient times is Sammarahang, Sammarahang, Sammarahang. Even if we do not know the meaning of those words, or we are not sure how to pronounce it, it doesn't matter. It's just a tool. It's just a reminder. We allow the mantra to appear from the center. Sometimes the mantra and the sun, the image, They can go together. Sometimes they can't. Whatever we do, whether we imagine something or not, we feel content with a very soft and gentle awareness. We reconfirm the existence of the center within as often as we like. We do not need to follow our distractions anymore. So if we are distracted, we simply notice and we go back. And we will become more proficient in noticing when we are distracted. But on the other hand, we do not need to pin down our mind, to force down our mind. We do not need to do that either. When our mind is sometimes distracted, or there is a little bit of noise in our mind, that is okay. We do not need to force our mind. We will learn after a while to find the right balance, not forcing our mind, but not following our distractions either. We will be able to find the right balance. It's not too difficult to learn. If it was very difficult, nobody would be able to learn it. If it was very easy, then everybody would be able to become enlightened just like that. So it's manageable. And when we have managed to do so, it becomes easy. Let us meditate together in silence for a few more moments. And then we gradually go back to our senses. We notice the sounds around us. We notice the seat on which we are sitting. We notice our arms and legs, our hands and feet. We notice all of our senses. And before we open our eyes again, we remind ourselves that we can always return to the center space within whatever we are doing, wherever we're going. Then we open our eyes, as we come to the end of the meditation, and I will wrap it up by reciting a short blessing in the Pali language. Sappa Buddha Nupavena, Sappa Dhamma Nupavena, Sappa Sankha Nupavena, Sattha Soti, Bhavantu Te. Good evening, morning, or afternoon, everybody. So today's topic will be about dreams and why do we dream? There's a lot to be unpacked here because the topic of dreams is a very profound topic. And as we are maybe familiar with the life of the Buddha, the story of the Buddha, we may have heard that even the Buddha had some dreams before he became enlightened. So this is not something that we have heard for the first time. Dreams in Buddhism are important, but not all dreams have the same importance. So let's talk about that a little bit for today's session. I believe we have we have about 80 minutes in total. So that's so there's still some time to ask some questions or something like that. And let's just dive into it. And if you want to ask anything during the presentation, please do so. We will. I've just. You should be able to open up your microphone if you want, and ask a question, and you can use the button for that. Or you can also raise your hand, and then I will notice that you want to ask a question. So let's dive into it. So why do we dream? Now, today's session, I will talk about a little bit about the science of dreams. You know, there's a lot that scientists have said about dreams. And then I will talk about what in Buddhism is taught about dreams. And because there's actually some Buddhist texts that talk about the causes of dreams in the Theravada Buddhist tradition, in the Pali canon, or in the commentaries, to be exact. And so we can talk about that. And then I will close with the conclusion with regard to how meditation relates to meditation relates to our dreams. So this will be the content for today. So the funny thing about the science of dreams is that, you know, there's actually no, scientists are actually not sure why we dream. It's funny, we can put a man on the moon. We are able to develop the technology to create nuclear arms and create the most advanced technology, but we are not able to answer very basic questions, even with modern science. Modern scientists, they don't actually know why we dream. They just have theories, but they are not confirmed. They're just theories. In fact, modern science is not adequately able to explain why we sleep at all. I mean, we all need to take some rest, but why do we need to close our eyes? And do we need to go into some sort of state of sleep? Even that science doesn't know. In fact, science doesn't even know why we sneeze. So there's a lot that science cannot explain, but maybe we can just take a look at what science says, and then we can get to Buddhism, just so we have some comparison. If I talk like this, is it possible for the translator to translate in time? Yes?
I guess so, ka. Yes, I think
Okay.
so. Yes.
So the science of dreams is called the oneirology. And dreams, as you know, mainly occur in the rapid eye movement stage of sleep. So this is a stage of sleep when we dream the most. And dreams may last for a few seconds to 30 minutes. That is most of the time. So we may just have a very short dream or very long, but most of the time we cannot remember our dreams. The average person has 3 to 5 dreams per night, but most of the time we can't remember them. But I will also talk about how that is sometimes less when we meditate. And there has been many scientists, philosophers, and religious people who studied about dreams. The earliest recorded dreams have been written down about 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, which is present-day North Africa. And the Greek and Romans, they believed the dreams were direct messages from deities or from people who have passed away. And there may be some truth in that. I will get back to that in a moment. And they also believe that sometimes our dreams predicted the future. Now, that's an interesting topic, isn't it? Because the other day, one of the participants that is joining us today, she told me that sometimes there is some experiences that sometimes we'll be able to see that there are some dreams that are predictive in nature. Like you have some premonition, as it's called. Now, that's an interesting thing, because why do we have such dreams? Some people so strongly believe that dreams have a predictive quality that sometimes they would go to a certain place so they can get some dreams from the gods or get some dreams from some deities. So in the Bible, it's also mentioned that some people would go to a cave so that God would give them some dream or something like that. I'm not saying that that is always going to work like that, but that's just what people believe. This was called this is sometimes called dream incubation. Even in the present day, many people believe that their dreams reveal meaningful hidden truths. This is from 2009. Neurologists, that is brain scientists, they say that dreams remove the junk from the mind. These are all theories, they're not confirmed. Neurologists say that probably is a way to remove the junk from the mind. Sometimes the brain has its trash. It needs to get rid of the trash. Sometimes dreams can help to strengthen our memories. That is what neurologists also say. So if you have some memories which need to be strengthened, for example, if you know that some things are not safe to do, you as a child, you learn that it's not safe to put your fingers in a electrical socket. So you remember in your dream not to do that anymore. This is a scientific theory. But psychologists say that dreams are manifestations of repressed childhood memories sometimes. This theory is no longer accepted in science. but it's often referred to still. Also, the student of Freud, he said that dreams sometimes demand attention to a neglected issue, something that we need to spend more attention to, something like that. I'm not saying that's true, okay? I'm just saying what scientists say. Evolutionary psychologists, which is like a bit of a controversial field of science, which is not always accepted by everyone, they say that sometimes prepares us for threatening situations. Like if you have a dream that you're falling down from a mountain, that prepares us, so you are alert. So when some animals or some danger is presented, then you can easily run away because you've been practicing in your dreams. And sometimes, and I think this one is actually most true of all the explanations, dreams can help us to create new ideas. This is a very recent theory from 2013, but I think it's true because dreams can sometimes give us new insights and can help us discover new things in our lives, especially in our work or in our life when we need to make difficult decisions. Sometimes dreams can help to give us some wisdom. But then the question is, of course, where do these dreams come from? So according to Buddhism, in the Atthakatha or the Pali language commentaries, they say that there are 4 causes of dreams. Sometimes in Thai language, they are put together in a sort of rhyme. And they will say that the first cause in Thai language is called Tat Viprit. The second is Jit Nivorn. And the third, if I'm not mistaken, is called Tep Sanghorn. And the fourth one is Gam Bandan. That's not very helpful for most of you, but maybe for the translators. The first is a physical cause. The second is a mental cause. That all seems to make sense, right? But then there is also the possibility that it's a supernatural cause, that there's something else apart from our mind and body that causes that dream to appear. And there may be the cause, there may be a fourth cause, which will end with today, which is because of the law of karma. And I already talked about the law of karma a little bit in the previous time, as well as Lompi Pasula. He also talked about that. And I believe that Lompi Anuchit has also talked about previous lives. Is that correct? Yeah, so you have already had some foundation of topics about this. So I will talk a little bit more about the law of karma. According to Buddhism, according to the commentaries, they say that the first 2 causes, these kind of dreams don't come true. They have no predictive value. But the latter 2 causes, sometimes they come true. And in the case of karma, they always come true. So how do we distinguish? I will talk about that in a moment. First of all, what are the physical causes of dreams? Well, sometimes we have a dream, maybe even a nightmare, because we are sleeping on our arm. Did you ever have that? Or maybe the environment in which you are sleeping is not so good. For example, you're sleeping in a hotel, a motel, which is not a very good ventilation or something like that. It's not a very good quality room. Then you might have a nightmare. Or sometimes there's something wrong with your environment. Maybe too many plants in your room. Or there's some problem with the temperature. These are all reasons why sometimes the environment can affect our sleep. For example, in my personal case, I don't like to sleep with the heater on too much because it will affect my sleep. So I know that, so I don't put the heater on too much. But everyone will have to know for himself, right? This is basic knowledge, not very interesting, but it's good to know. Sometimes there are mental reasons why we dream. This we sometimes call the hindrances, the 5 hindrances, or the nivarana, nivon in Thai language. I've been using a bit of a liberal translation here to make it easy to understand. Sometimes there are certain things or certain things that happen or certain people that we've come across, and then we make up stories about these people. This is what most dreams are like, because of certain desires that we have for people or for things, or sometimes because we're angry, maybe sometimes both. And that's why we have dreams. This is generally the nature of people. Of course, the third hindrance, the sleepy mind, may not be very much of info, may not be very important here, but we all are sleepy when we sleep. But sometimes we are stressful, we are restless, we have stress, fear, something like that, anxiety. And many of our dreams are caused by that, the restless mind. Or sometimes we have many questions, very deep and profound questions in our mind. So these are all hindrances that we can deal with in our life, and it will help us to improve our quality of our sleep. So that's why the Buddha, he always advised his monks, his students, to meditate before sleeping. Because if we meditate before we sleep, it will be easy for us to dream positively. Maybe we won't even have that many dreams. Maybe we have only very short dreams or not many dreams, and they will not be filled with fear and anxiety because we have prepared our mind before we sleep. Also, the last moments of any day are also very much affecting the first moments of the next day. So if we are sleeping, if we are ending our day, if we are the last moments of the day we spend in meditation, and maybe we make a resolve for leading a good and happy and healthy life, then that will be a very good thing to do before we go to sleep. And the moment we wake up, we kind of wake up from that same feeling. Our abbot, Lompa Tamachayo, he said that we can simply think of it as like a sea, like you are sleeping in a sea of good deeds. All the good things that you've done, you can think about those things and how you can develop more goodness in your life. And when you wake up, you feel like you're still thinking about those things, because that's how our mind works. The last things that we have been preoccupied about, that we have been thinking about, that we have been dwelling on before we fall asleep, those are the things that will pop up in our mind when we wake up. That's why there is this expression, we should always wake up the right side of the bed, right? In English language, you say the right side of the bed. I don't know what is the right side of the bed. Do you know? Right or left? In Dutch language, they say you have to wake up with the right leg. That is actually a belief which was held by the ancient Romans, that you always need to wake up with the right leg, the first step of the day. Never the left, but always the right. This is like a belief. But there's some truth in it, in that the first moments of our day are very important. So when somebody has a bad mood, sometimes we say he's woken up the wrong side of the bed. It's just an expression, but there's truth in it, in that the first thoughts are very important for the rest of our day. So if you have a supervisor or a boss, and you know they're always in a bad mood when they've just went in the morning, then you should never report to them in the morning. So this is like the nature of some people because they don't sleep well. They have hindrances in the mind. So that's why it's important to meditate before you go to sleep. These two are very much connected: mind, meditation, sleep. But there is more. All of what I've been talking about are dreams that don't come true. They don't have any predictive value. They are not premonitions. But sometimes dreams do come true. We dream about something, some person we're going to meet, or some important thing that's going to happen in our life. Some people, they tell me that they've been dreaming about our teachers, for example, Lom Pu or Kun Yai. And then later on, they actually meet Lom Pu. I mean, they go to the temple and they see the portrait of Lom Pu or Kun Yai, which they've been dreaming about, which is very odd because they never met those people in this life. Maybe there's something to be learned here. But sometimes there may also be something going on here, that these dreams are not from ourselves. In Buddhism, we believe that human beings are not alone in this world, but that there's more than that. If you switch on a radio, you still can use those, you know, for the young people among us. If you switch on a radio, there will be sometimes a signal, a radio signal or a channel, and you can receive all sort of information, news, and music just by switching on the radio. But you cannot see those things. You can, some countries, you can receive radio in many languages, but you cannot see those radio signals. They're very, very subtle. You cannot see it. It's a very subtle movement. So this is a very subtle frequency, which we cannot see with the naked eye. In the same way, Buddhism says that sometimes there are beings living amongst human beings. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is, this is an ancient belief. And these are like devas. We can call them devas. Or sometimes they are also called deities. These devas, they may live amongst human beings, or they may live somewhere else in another plane. But when they live close to the human world, sometimes they might want to give a message to people. Now, don't get me wrong, devas in Buddhism were formerly human beings, and they lived their lives in a good way. And then as a result, they were reborn as devas. Sometimes we say of people, she's like an angel, or he's like an angel. And we feel very good about that person. Is very kind and very generous, very compassionate. We say they're like an angel. But sometimes we meet people who say that guy or that person is like an animal. We can say something like that. It's just an expression, but there's some truth in it because the mind is what shapes our future. So according to Buddhism, sometimes when we have lived our life as an angel, we are reborn as an angel, or to be precise, as a deva. Sometimes we have lived our lives as an animal, then we are reborn as an animal. This is how Buddhism sees the world. Now, I'm not saying today, as you have seen in the beginning of this program, this is a program about investigating by yourself. It's called Come and See, right? The Come and See channel. So I'm not saying what you should believe. And in fact, the Buddha, he did never obliged anyone to believe anything. But we should consider, because the things we believe are how our future is shaped. So when we consider these, when we give these some benefit of the doubt, it will help us. So it's important to mention this because sometimes when we are not thinking about this, then you might think that the Buddha, he's he prohibited to believe anything else, or he said you have to believe this. This is not the way we approach these topics in Buddhism. So the Buddha, he clearly stated that we have to investigate, and our faith, we may have some faith, but our faith is just the beginning. Eventually, our faith will help us to develop wisdom. Okay, so that's important to notice. Okay. So when we go back to the topic, we can see that therefore, sometimes our dreams are because of supernatural causes. There are some devas who want to give us some message. We cannot see these beings, but they look very similar to human beings. They don't have long ears or something like that, no. But they look similar to human beings, but they look more refined, and they sometimes they cannot influence the human world so much, so they need to have a vessel. They need to have some means to influence the human world. Sometimes they might give a message to you. But in the commentaries, they say these messages are not always true. Sometimes there may be a deva who's just wanting to play around. They give you a message, but there's no truth in it. So that is the difficulty. That is the difficulty here. So sometimes there may be devas who want to communicate something to us. And how do we distinguish these dreams from other dreams? Well, if our dreams are shortly or about the time of the sunrise, so when the sun is rising, we dream about certain things. And these dreams are very clear, very memorable, not vague, but very clear, like we see with the naked eye, very clear. These kind of dreams are caused by devas, according to the text. So this is how you can distinguish. Okay, let's see, there is a question. Okay, how long should we meditate before sleeping? So just going back to the previous, I just mentioned before that we should meditate before we fall asleep, because this will help us to give us more clarity. This really depends. It depends on, first of all, if we meditate already in our daily lives. If we don't do so yet, I think we should at least meditate for twice, half an hour every day. That is what I usually recommend. Half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, or you might want to do half an hour in the afternoon, up to you. But we should have some time to meditate every day. But it doesn't mean that meditating less is not useful. It's also useful. For example, if you can spare 5 minutes, that's great. If you can spare 10 minutes, even better. We can build up slowly, and once we get more benefits from meditation, once meditation starts to grow within us and starts to grow on us, then we will want to meditate more naturally. One more question. Can we train ourselves to meditate in dreams? So that is sometimes known as dream yoga, or yoga nitra, or nitra yoga, or something like that. This is not something that is taught normally in Thai Buddhism, but I think that it's if you use that in a useful way, in a creative way, then that's a good thing. It really depends on how you use that. I think that is actually a real practice, and it's true. It's possible to control your dreams, but it's not something that is taught in Thai Buddhism. Okay. However, there is a way to dream lucidly using the Dhammakai meditation method. For people who meditate on a very advanced level, they can actually they can also give them some clarity in dreams as well. Okay. Then there is a fourth kind of dream, and that is the one I'd like to spend some time on as well. We have some time left. When we have a deed in the past, something that we've done in the past, whether good or bad, whether constructive or destructive, this is a karma, which we call everything we do, every moral thing we do, we call karma. Okay? This may be a karma from the past. That means from the beginning of our lifetime, when we were still very young, or it could even be from a previous lifetime. This karma might cause us to dream in a certain way. We will have a premonition. We will have a certain images or certain sounds in our dreams because of that karma. As I mentioned before, some people dream about Lom Pu or Kunyai because they have. Why? Because they may have met Kunyai or met Lom Pu in a previous life, or they may have devoted themselves to following their teachings, their guidance, their inspirational teachings. Because of that, they have a dream when they think about Lom Pu or Kunyai. At the same time, that same karma can also have a result. For example, the result may be that we actually meet Lom Pu or Kunyai, or we actually see the temple, we meet people in the temple, and then we see the portrait of Kunyai or Lom Pu. So then you ask yourself, how could I know about that? I was dreaming about them before, and now I come to the temple and I see the portrait of Lom Pu and Kunyai. Well, because it's the same deed that caused both. To give another example, some people, they dream that somebody will come to them and give them something, maybe give them some gift or give them some opportunity. They have a dream about that, and then it actually happens. How can that be? Well, because they themselves have been giving good things to others in the past. So the same generosity that caused the dream also caused the result, caused the event to happen in that person's lives. So there may be many good things that we dream about that actually come true because of the karma causing those dreams. Again, these dreams, they are dreams that occur when the sun is about to rise, and they are very clear dreams, just like in the case of supernatural dreams. So, to make a long story short, some dreams do tell us something from the past, and we can learn from our dreams, but not all dreams. So don't make too much of a fuss about it, because some dreams, they are just dreams. So let's dive a little bit deeper what we actually mean when we talk about the law of karma. Now, I previously have talked about it already a little bit, but just like to review that every time we act out of greed or hatred or delusion, like strong emotion or some confusion, we are confused about something, we then sow crops, we cause something to happen, and that will ripen later on. This is what we call the law of karma. But on the other hand, if we do something good like giving, acting out of generosity, loving kindness, wisdom, good intentions, we also will sow crops. We also will sow seeds that will ripen in happiness. That's why the result of karma, vipaka, is often also called pala or pon in Thai language. Pala means fruit, the ripening of the karma. So the Buddha, he always compared karma with like a farmer who's planting something and then reaping the fruit. That's why sometimes when we talk about when we are giving something to like the Buddha, right? When we're giving something to the temple or to the Buddha, we give to a field of merit, like a field in which you sow and then you can reap the fruits. This is sometimes called karma, because everything we do comes back to us, whether it's a positive thing, when we act with a mind of giving, when we act with a mind of wisdom or kindness, or whether it's a negative thing, when we act out of hatred. All those intentions, when they actually are acted on, when we act on those intentions, then it will come back to us. That's what the law of karma says. But there's a lot of misunderstandings about karma, okay? Maybe you've seen this cartoon before. It's from Dilbert. It's a bit of a cynical cartoon. And this little dog here, he says, I believe in karma because it means I can do bad things to people all day long and I assume they deserve it. Okay, this is not, not the right understanding. Karma is not blame it all on your karma, okay? So when somebody is saying, I just do this or that because it's their karma, that is not how karma works. You cannot just say we have to do this because of our karma or we have to do that because of our karma. There's always some space. There's always some room to decide, always some room to be free and make a good decision. It's not, karma is not our fate, okay? Also, karma is not like a God or a higher intelligence that controls our lives, okay? Now, I'm not saying that you should not believe in God, okay? Because I'm not attacking anyone's beliefs. But if we believe in God, in Christianity or any religion, we should believe in the right way, not like God controls our every life, every step. And fortunately, many people who believe in God, they believe also that we have free will, that we have the ability to decide things by ourselves. So that's a good thing. But some people, they are mistaken. You know, there is a joke about a woman in a village. And then there's a flood coming. And all the people in the village, they are getting on boats and they're trying to flee from the village because of the flood. And then there's one woman that says, no, we don't have to flee because I believe in God. I think I told you this story before, right? So eventually the woman, all of the villagers, they try to help the woman many times. But every time she says, you don't have to help me because I won't drown. God will help me and I won't drown. And then the next boat comes with the villagers and they say, come on the boat. We have to flee. We have to get out of here. And every time she says, God will help me, don't worry. And eventually she dies, she drowns. And then she comes into heaven and then she meets God and she says to God, why didn't you help me? And God says to her, I sent you 3 boats. So this is like sometimes we are blaming everything on something else, but we should never forget we always have the opportunity to make decisions. So that is also very important in Buddhism. We always have some possibility to make decisions. We don't need to blame it all on destiny or on karma or on God. There's always some things to decide for yourself. So when we are saying, I don't have any choice, whatever decision we make in our lives, you have to really question why you are saying that. We always have some choice. So the law of karma is also about being responsible and accountable. It's not like a sort of superstition or something. It's a very strong and powerful belief and very important part of Buddhism. These days, some people say that I think Buddhism is good, but I don't believe in karma. Well, then I think you haven't really studied it much yet. You don't have to believe everything, but we should give it some consideration. Because if the law of karma really exists, then it can help us to do good. If we use it in the right way, we can find that our mind and our character grows when we do good more often. Being someone with no excuses is also part of being understanding the law of karma, being realistic and able to positively change the world. So many great people in human history who have changed their society in a good way, whether they are religious figures or people who have helped to improve society in other fields, they usually believe that it's possible as a human being to change themselves and to change society. So when we believe in cause and effect, we believe in the law of karma. That is the same thing. So to make a conclusion to today's story, because we already spent an hour together, everything we do matters. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, our mind is the most wonderful treasure we have. So when we are talking about dreams, they tell us something about our mind, how our mind works. In English, there's an expression that the mind is a terrible thing to waste, right? So that is a good expression. It shows very much that if our mind is damaged, if our mind is not in balance, then it will show in our dreams. So it's important that we use dreams to understand ourselves better and to understand the way we take care of ourselves, of our mind, will also affect our dreams and will also affect our future. So taking care of our mind through meditation is very helpful, and it will also help us to dream better. Every time we meditate before we go to sleep, it will help us to have a good night's rest. And also it will help us to have more clarity in our mind. When we wake up in an inspired way. When we study about the law of karma, then we also will feel more inspired and have more wisdom to do good and avoid all that's not helpful, that is wrong in our lives. But that is a few things that I'd like to talk about with regard to the Buddhist teaching on the 4 causes of dreams. So maybe I'll just review those 4 causes once more before we end. So there's, a physical cause and a mental cause for dreams. When we have noise going on in our mind, then those dreams don't come true. Sometimes there's a supernatural cause. Sometimes those dreams come true. But when our dreams are caused because of karma, they always come true. These are the 4 causes of dreams. So our dreams tell us something about our mind. They always also tell us something about the world we live in and the way it works. These are some things I'd like to end with today. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask about today? Not sure if I've already, I think I haven't answered all the questions yet. There's one question actually, which I haven't answered. That is, can we train ourselves to meditate in our dreams? I think I talked about it a little bit, but actually it's not exactly the same question as lucid dreaming, but it basically comes down to the same thing. Yes, you can do that, you can learn that, but it requires a lot of training, and you can carry the state of meditation which you have built up throughout your life. You can carry it with you in your dreams. So you will find that even if you're not sitting in a lotus posture or something like that, you will still find that the way you've been training your mind throughout the day will affect your dreams. So yeah, the answer is yes. but it requires some training. So that's why I often say that it's important that we often greet the center of the body to reconnect with the center, and will help us to improve our skill in meditation as well, and will give us more clarity in our thoughts. Do you have any other questions for today?
Yes ค่ะหลวงพี่ there is two, I think, yeah, at least one question sent privately to me. The question is what to do if we don't want to dream, like, because like when this person has a dream, she or he cannot sleep well, so
Okay. Yeah, so this is basically has to do with training your mind, because there may be any of the reasons that I mentioned before, whether it's anger or sensuality, desires that are not fulfilled, or sometimes we have other things that are happening in our mind that causes us to have bad dreams. So we have to find out what is that cause. But most importantly, when we meditate often, it will help us to improve our mind and before we dream. But when we are meditating before we fall asleep, we should find the right balance. So if we are, for example, meditating until we fall asleep within our meditation, that may be too much. We don't need to meditate until we fall asleep in our meditation. Okay, we need to have some clarity first. So just meditate for the right amount. If you are very sleepy, then maybe meditate a little bit, refresh yourself a little bit, maybe drink a glass of water, and maybe sit a little bit straight, and try to find the right balance for yourself. It's not necessary to meditate until you fall asleep. That may be too much sometimes. But we have to find the right balance. So when we are finding that our dreams are very bad, that may be because of things that have happened in the past, and we have anxiety about those things. But the events that happened in the past, whatever trauma, whatever bad things have happened in the past, they cannot affect us that much. If the worry, if the concern, if the anxiety is no longer present. So if we learn to reconsider this by building up strength in our mind, we will also be able to relate in a different way to whatever trauma, whatever bad things have happened in our lives. We will be able to put it in perspective and understand what happened. I'm not saying we condone it, but we understand it better. And because of that, we will not have those nightmares anymore. Sometimes meditation not only affects our thoughts, but also affects our biology, because some traumas or some nightmares also have some physical component. But as long as we continue to meditate often, and we learn to be more neutral, even when very negative images appear in our meditation or something like that, we learn to tolerate. Then when we are courageous enough to continue, we will be able to make progress in meditation.
True. And I have my own personal question. Like in the West, what type of Westerners, what kind of people in the West would link their dreams with supernatural phenomena?
Well, I suppose there are people who do that, but I don't know. You would have to ask around, but most of the time I do not meet many people who believe that.
Yeah.
But it's just that this is a belief in Buddhism, right? When we talk about the devas, and this is a very important belief in Buddhism. But maybe in some other religions, there is some belief that angels or guardian angels or something like that, they can send a message through our dreams, or God or something like that. But because maybe there's a similar theme there, but I don't know exactly. You have to ask a Christian or Muslim or any other religion.
I see. Okay. And also another question. When we dream while we were meditating, does it mean we sleeping already? A private question.
Yes. That's if your thoughts are not organized and you're wandering off and you have all sorts of illogical things going on in your mind, and you're not at your center, then yeah, you're kind of sleeping. But there's different levels. Sometimes we just have a wandering mind a little bit. That's something else. But it's something we can gradually practice to notice, and then when we notice, we go back. When we notice more quickly, it will be able to easily go back. It's important in meditation that we understand that when we make our mind and body easy to live in, then our mind wants to go back. Our attention wants to go back. Because the nature of our attention, our awareness, is that it wants to be in a place where it's easy to live in. So if we are feeling not well, then we won't be able to bring our awareness back. It will not stay long. We have to create a good house by making sure that we are relaxed in body and mind, and yet alert. We feel like we like to meditate, and then our awareness wants to stay.
Yes.
So Nancy just made a remark that ancient Britons, people from Britain, used to sleep on burial mounds, ancient graveyards, to get messages and dreams from their ancestors. So this is also a form of dream incubation that I mentioned before. Yes. Actually, it doesn't really matter where you are dreaming, where you are sleeping. If your mind is clear, then there may be sometimes messages coming more easily. But that is, it's always kind of tricky to determine which are real and which are not. But if there are dreams that are coming true, that are true later on, then that is usually because of karma, and sometimes because of devas.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And also another question sent to me privately. I always fall asleep when I start to meditate, and that affected me to sleep every time. So how do I fix it?
Well, there may be physical causes or mental causes. So the thing is, with meditation, it's like a habit, okay? Many things we do regularly will grow into habits. So first of all, we need to fix the habit first. Then we can find and fix the underlying causes. If you have a habit to fall asleep easily in your meditation, you need to fix the habit first. In the previous times when our abbot, Lompa Tamachayo, or as we call him sometimes, Kun Kru Mayai, right? He would sometimes teach the novices who were in the habit of falling asleep always in meditation. He would sometimes ask them to sit next to a table. So anytime they fall asleep, they would bump their head. So sometimes we need to fix the habit first. By fixing the habit, we can then look at the cause. Maybe we haven't slept enough. We are not in a habit of sleeping enough. Maybe we slept too much. Can also be a problem. And sometimes we have we are eating too much or too little. Those are all things that can happen. And sometimes, especially in Asia, many people are not in the habit of exercising. So if you don't have the habit of exercise, then you might also easily fall asleep. So it's important to exercise regularly every day. So that, or at least regularly, maybe not every day, but at least regularly. And then it will be helpful for your meditation as well. Okay.
I agree,ค่ะ. So, sadhu,ค่ะ. I think that's the end of our Q&A session. And now it's time for a happy photo session together. So I would love to invite everybody from around the world to turn on your camera, make a big smile, and make a mini heart gesture with me, okay? And I will give a countdown, 10 seconds. Okay. Mini hearts. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big smile. Yes. Okay, thank you so much, ka. Sadhu ka. Thank you so much. And now I would love to invite Ven.Sander to give us a special take-home message for today, ka.
Yeah, so there's one more question which I haven't answered yet. Do the dreams which we see at the dawn really come true? Well, as I mentioned, it depends on whether the dreams are also clear and memorable. If they're very clear, vivid dreams, then it may be that they come true, but not always, because sometimes the devas will just, play around. But if they are dreams that are connected with good deeds, with karma, with doing good, then they are always very predictive. Anyway, that's what the texts say, but we have to figure out for ourselves, because this is the Come and See channel. So we, as I mentioned before, it's important that we know the value of our human mind and that we train it. We train it often, just like we train our own body by exercise, by taking good care of our health. We can also take good care of our mind by meditating often and training our mind often. And our dreams will help us, will also improve if we often train our mind in meditation. And when we learn that we can learn from our dreams also that there is a truth in life, which we call the law of karma, and that anything we do will come back to us, and that all good things that we do matter. So I would like to close with this, and would like to thank you for your joining us today. So may I give you, sorry, may I give you a blessing by the power of the Buddha, his teaching and his community. May you all find happiness in your life. May you find good people, wise people on your path. And may you all find health, wisdom, and wealth in your lives. May you find the clarity and peace of the Dhammakaya within in every lifetime until Nirvana.